are experiencing, but importantly to learn as well as collaborate with yourselves so that we co-create solutions for this specific region. So with that said, I just want to highlight the reason why we are here. It's to strengthen investor confidence, address barriers to business growth, improve service delivery, responsiveness, as well as co-creating solutions like I mentioned. So your participation is greatly welcomed. We are going to start with a number of presentations on our end, just so that you can understand where we are coming from a retention and aftercare point of view, and then we will open the platform for yourselves to also weigh in on the discussions. With that said, please allow me to call upon Mr. Magafela Taba, who is the Acting Regional Director for the specific region in Region A, to give us a welcoming address. Can we give him a round of applause as he comes forward?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Amu. Good morning, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. I wish to also, in the absence of our first citizen, the executive mayor, extend my greetings to him, the city manager of the city of Johannesburg and his EMT. But also let me acknowledge the first citizen of the area as well, Councillor Foley, that is made sure that he graces the event. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Region A. I'm acting in Region A, and today that we are in the cinema, I think we can do a very beautiful movie, since we are at the right platform, ED. But nonetheless, welcome to this particular region. Let me also indicate that as we engage and you find your comfort in this region, please note that from the business sector, there are a number of challenges that we are experiencing and a number of successes that we are also realizing as the region. But in the main, ED and business sector is that the issues around infrastructure are quite paramount, in the sense that it's what will then drive business growth in this particular region. It being one of the richest square miles or the regions that we currently have, with the exceptions of Sandton that are also responsible for, acknowledging Africa. I would want to actually indicate to the colleagues to say that we are here in Region A. Please find solutions that fit Region A. Please find solutions that would actually make Region A progress, given that there's quite alarming rate of unemployment and a number of informal settlements that we currently have. Region A and Region G have some of the biggest informal settlements, and that's where people are looking for business opportunities or employment. And as you engage and elaborate on how the city can then work with yourselves, let's try and see to it that we bring those investments closer to those particular communities. And I wish to also, without having those colleagues that are here, those that have developed the likelihood of Diepsloot Mall, it's well appreciated because it's starting to drive the economic activities in the area. Councillor Foley said to me that Fourways is the biggest mall in Africa. And I would implore the business sector to say that can it also find an expression in one of those underprivileged communities wherein we can have perhaps the second biggest mall in Africa. It's something that perhaps the business sector can look into. But overall, this is the region that is moving. That is the region that actually it's always welcoming to investment. And I'm hoping that as you interact, you'll find comfort. Ourselves as a team, we are here. Where there are bedlocks from your end, let's engage. We'll try and unlock the areas that you require assistance from us. From that end, ladies and gentlemen and colleagues that may have connected online, welcome to Region A, and we're looking forward to a robust discussion with the business sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that warm welcome, RD. And without any further ado, maybe let me also conscientize everyone in the room that we have a bit of a time constraints. There's a movie that is going to take place at 2 o'clock. So we need to make sure that we are done by 1:30 so that they can prepare the room for that session. With that said, I'm going to call Mr. Matopane Masha. He's the executive director responsible for the department where I come from. In essence, this is my boss that is coming up. It's the Department of Economic Development. He is going to share with the audience on the trade and investment promotion initiatives by the city. Can we give him a round of applause as he comes? And there is a presentation that we're going to flight.
Good morning. Yeah, also I must acknowledge Councillor Fall, otherwise, because I live not far from here, he may put a toll gate outside my house, so. Thank you. Just to acknowledge also the RD and the councillors and everybody that is here today. We appreciate you coming here. But maybe just to, as I set the scene, just to indicate that we felt that as a department that in the main, we do have platforms as the City of Johannesburg where we engage in the community, the general public, on other issues. At the heart of those, I suppose, is service delivery issues. But we also felt that we really didn't have a platform where we're engaging business people on issues that really affect business. Though there is a bit of an interface in terms of some of the challenges. For example, for businesses to thrive, they will need basic services to be provided, whether it's water, electricity, consistency, and all of those things. But over and above that, there are other things that we are doing as the city that we felt that probably we need to have more focused, structured discussion with business people in our regions so that we can start really having tailor-made, as the RD was saying, support in those areas. So in the interest of time, I would try and rush a bit, I'll spend a bit more time on 2 slides. But just in terms of the mandate of the department, we are really established to make sure that we create a business-friendly environment. And it obviously includes addressing all those things that I've spoken about, being a responsive city that we are able to intervene where there's a need. But in the main, really to make sure that we drive growth of our economy. The mayor has committed the city that by 2030 we should at least as a city grow by about 3% and start really making inroads into joblessness that we see in our community, especially for young people, as the majority in our city generally as well. But also, as we know, as this region, I suppose, other than the other cities and municipalities that are adjacent to this region, a lot of people that come from other provinces really end up here. Whether it's the northwest area, part of Limpopo, I think they jump Midrand, come this side. So hence, I think there's pressure in terms of housing and other social issues. So you are really caring a lot in terms of expectations and opportunities in terms of the city of Johannesburg. I will skip some of the slides just in terms of just to manage time, but maybe just in terms of our value proposition, especially if you look at this area. So we've got obviously a very promising, or at least in terms of potential emerging market. In this region especially, you've got affluent customer base, industrial base as well to drive long-term investments. That means we must look at some of the areas where we've got properties and facilities that are not optimally used. We need to be able to work or look around how do we optimally use those to drive investment and value as well. Also, the economy is quite developed in this region. Multinationals are quite solid around here as well. But also in terms of infrastructure, though some may not be in good condition, but we do have, in terms of our road infrastructure and connectivity, but I suppose, Councillor Foley, if we can just unlock, I see the Monte Casino freeway backlog in the morning. Hey man, it's a headache. Yeah, so that with obviously intelligence systems around how we manage traffic and the traffic lights, I think it will help because in terms of movement of people and goods in the area as well. So without necessarily going into the details, I think so, and I agree then with you, RD, that part of the design of our programs must be inclusive as we drive investments. We must then be able to say, how do we also bring in young people who are out there unemployed, and some may not have the skills, so that we bring them into the economy to participate as well. So I think those are some of the things, but also issues around the crime as an issue. I think we know that as an issue, and the commitments that the city have made in terms of managing that, because part of what investors will do when they go into space to invest is to look at those things around the consistency and predictability of services that have been supplied, but how safe will they be in terms of once they set up business. And I think that is important point just to make, that through the partnerships that we have with community structures and associations, we're able to be much more organized around addressing those things. I will not spend too much time on this. So just to indicate, to show that as the city, of course, we do have priority sectors where we're seeing a bit of impact in terms of drivers of growth and job creation. And but also as we focus on investing in our priority sectors and creating jobs, let's make sure that also we are able to reorganize our informal economy, enable to grow, organize it, regulate it properly. Just to indicate, I think, Councillor, as you know, we've just started recently issuing informal trading permits again, and that really helps because I think since 2013, also the city, because of court cases and other things, we're not able to. So we have started in the inner city addressing a lot of the issues there. We were in Alex also, and Soweto in Jabulani, and we are alive to some of the challenges around in this region in terms of informal trading on the side of the road. And so part of our law enforcement will focus a lot on that, because now we have a basis at least because previously you couldn't, if you want to remove someone, they'll say, no, but where do I go? Because you guys are not giving us permits. So now that we are doing it, there's no excuse really in terms of organizing and managing our spaces to make sure that we manage this order in terms of where people can trade, but also we promote health and safety as well. So those are some of the things. Revenue collection, issues around the green economy in terms of how we invest in our city as well. So I wouldn't spend too much time. We've developed a economic growth strategy that will enable us to drive growth in our economy, and these will just be sort of a summary of the pillars that will drive that growth. As you can see, the interlinkages between what is an enabling environment, and that talks to issues around infrastructure, as you're saying, RD, issues around revenue collections, issues around safety and security as enabling this investment environment that we want to grow. But we're also looking at nodal development, and I think Sandton and to this area, it's mainly characterized by a strong, financial services sector as well. But also looking at cluster development, where we're looking at driving value in terms of your manufacturing and other sectors that can help us drive growth. And of course, our fifth pillar talks to inclusivity in terms of our development. So meaning that as we develop, we shouldn't leave anyone behind. So we should be able to be more structured in terms of how we want to develop our economy and bring in everybody. So just in terms of part of the work that we do, I just want to remove something that is disrupting me here. So we're looking at as the part of the department, we also have a focus on our trade and investment. So where we look at investment promotion, investment facilitation, business retention and aftercare, and trade promotion. So pretty much, we are the gateway into the city in terms of whether it's local or international investors that want to come through. We're also able to further take them through the process around how they can invest, some of the support interventions that are in place. And also we work with national government and provincial government. We look at some of the incentives that are available for people who want to invest in the city, whether it's property developers, and some will differ, of course, from sector to sector in terms of what is available. So I think also I just wanted to indicate, so I'm sure you'd have seen the city has started with the debt rehabilitation program as well. So that's part of some of the interventions that we're putting in place to assist, because we have picked it up, especially in areas, the industrial areas where we've got people interested in investing. You find those properties have long-standing debts that cannot be explained where it comes from and all of that. So hence the city, I think, took an initiative. And we do see it, though, as the responses has been much more bigger from the residents, as in individual residents owning houses in the city. We are also seeing business people coming forward. And I think for us, the impact is likely to be bigger because we can then be able to stimulate jobs, expansion of businesses in the areas where we are able to write off some of the debt. And I think colleagues will probably talk about it as well around what that entails. I think it's one important incentive. And just in terms of why the issue around business retention is important, because just to summarize, it's important to attract new investment, but it's even more important to retain what you have. So hence, once business people come and set up in the city, in our region, we also take it upon ourselves to make sure that we support them. We are responsive to some of the challenges that they have, and we are able to also make sure that they expand in terms of their businesses. So part of the stats we have in 23-24, for example, there's about 7 billion that in terms of FDIs that are attracted into the city of Johannesburg. A lot of it is in your region, RD. There are two regions. A lot of it is in region A and E. As you go towards Midrand, for example, investment in business services, data centers, and so it just goes to show, I think, the importance of these two regions as anchors and drivers of our economy. So the question is, how do we really, through the support programs, make sure that translates into empowerment, transformation, and we're able to reach out to more people as well, and young people, especially in our city. So I think, just to summarize, that we believe that it's important to attract new investment, but also once investors are here, we must do our best to look after them, to support them, and to make sure that we are responsive to their needs. And I often give an example here, Clover did not really want to leave that Northwest municipality. It's just that no one listened to them. Or at least no one gave them a platform to say, come, let's talk. And they end up deciding, let's go. So we want to make sure that we create a platform where we can talk. Some of the challenges are complex, but we must face them and make sure that we do our best to resolve them so that we can together build our city into what we want it to be. And so I think in terms of the Meet the City, I think I've already sort of outlined some of these things. That we really want to make sure we offer tailored support for businesses that are in the city, forge partnerships as well, and identify opportunities for growth also. So I think that is very important, that some of the opportunities and challenges we have, we will really do much better if we are doing those together. So and I think the more and more we engage businesses, and the more I think we also see that or maybe as the city we see certain things as these are headaches for us, but for businesses are opportunities. So whether you talk about the inconsistency around energy supply, but what does that mean to a business person, and how do you assist those people to invest in relieving the city of some of the those issues. So I think a lot of those are beginning to come through as we engage businesses with solutions around how we can create more capacity for the city in terms of energy and other areas. And of course, objectives just to make sure we identify those challenges, as Amu was saying, resolve those bottlenecks, and strengthen engagements. Create platforms where we can be able to engage, so that we collectively we can resolve these issues. So, and I'll just give an example. In some of the areas, for example, where Councillor Foley will have maybe informal traders deciding to trade there without permits, without permission, any area that is not designated, property owners will come and say, but we can help organize this space. Let's work together to do it. And we start that process. Because in some, you may find that trading happens in a privately owned space. But because we are the regulator, we are able to really provide the guidelines around how we can do it, and we support. And we've seen that working in other areas. And we believe we can really expand it to other areas in the city through the strong engagements and partnerships with local businesses. So just in terms of support that we are beginning to package and put in place to support investors, one is the city we've established what we call the investment fast tracking and project prioritization team. So pretty much our entities, all our critical entities in the city and departments, where we look at how do we fast track once requests have come through from investors, how do we fast track that in terms of other things, whether it's your zoning issues, water licenses, and all of that. So we've seen it, we started in the current financial year. We've looked at a few projects, I think, where we are beginning to see progress in terms of also shortening some of the turnaround time in some of these areas as well. Because sometimes, even though you may find that a process is legally supposed to take 2 years, it doesn't mean it must take 2 years, as an example. So we are looking at how do you resolve some of those things so that business people can really focus on doing what they do best, which is business as well. There are also other areas where there are rebates and tax incentives where we also support SMMEs or businesses who are interested in applying for such. For example, your UDZ, if you look at those that are investing in property space, we do assist those, working with National Treasury, of course, so that there are rebates for some of the businesses as well. And also we look at, obviously, we do a lot of aftercare site visits. We also connect businesses to other investors, even existing businesses. For example, yesterday we had a very productive session with the Finnish Chamber of Commerce, and they are interested in investing, especially in the green projects in the city or projects that have a social impact. And so with those relationships, we're able to create business-to-business networks so that we unlock opportunities for our businesses who are also looking at taking some of the products or their services to other countries as well as part of their growth. We also support investors through letters of commendations as well, where there is a need. But in the main, I think we just wanted to create a platform where, as the city, we can engage business people, understand their issues much better, and collectively be able to intervene in terms of resolving those problems. So I'm sure you know the work that we're doing with the Presidential Working Group is anchored on exactly the same. So where we've seen a lot of private sector associations coming through to work with the city to address issues, whether they are resolving issues around traffic lights, opportunities for young people, work placement opportunities. So it's a myriad of areas that we are looking at where we are working with private sector to make sure that we can better collaborate. So this will just be some of the partners that are already working with us in some of these programs. With PRASA, for example, we've got a much more focused approach around how do we redevelop, especially if you look at their old dilapidated train stations that now that the government has reinvested back into our rail infrastructure. How do you really reposition those so that they become much more vibrant, inclusive, but also we are able to support growth of economies in those areas. So there's a lot of work that has been done from both in the inner city but also in the other areas where we do have what we call TODs, transport-oriented development, as anchor to drive economies in some of those areas. So that's part of the work that we do in the city. We also obviously do economic research as well. So as we're in Region E on the other day, we also did indicate that where businesses require economic intelligence, we are available to also share that with them for if they need to take decisions around some of the things, so investment decisions, we're able to share those with them as well. And yeah, so pretty much as the city, we wanted to come and say we are available. Let's work together in resolving these issues, especially business, especially our investors, so that we can really create jobs in our communities. We can also contribute towards growing the city, as the mayor has now committed that we must grow our city by 2030 at least by 3%, and be able to look at those sectors where we are likely to make greater impact in driving job creation and absorption, of course, also of young people in our city, in our communities. Yeah, with those short few words, I took exactly 5 minutes. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Edie, for that very detailed presentation. And I'm sure you will agree, ladies and gentlemen, that at the heart of what we're trying to do is business, because we understand the impact that you have in growing our economy. So I will sound like a broken record so that you can get the gist of why we are here. We are here to listen, we are here to learn, as well as to collaborate with yourselves. And I think it's also very important, as we are continuing with the session, as businesses, maybe you need to start thinking about some of those initiatives that you think we can do together as with the city of our city and our nation. With that said, I am going to call Ms. Asisipo Mandanza to come forward. She is a business, she's a manager responsible at the Gauteng Growth and Development Agency. This is one of our key strategic partners that we are working with in the other spheres of government. As you would know, there's national, province, as well as ourselves in the local sphere of government. And really what we're trying to demonstrate is the importance of what I said earlier on, that we are here to collaborate. So we are not just talking about collaboration, but we are also doing it. And that is why we've requested a presentation from them so that they can demonstrate and share with the team today what are some of those opportunities that are available from province. I'm going to ask that we give her a round of applause as she comes forward.
Good morning, everyone. As introduced, it's Asisipo Mandaza. I'm with the GGDA, which is your Economic Development Agency for the Gauteng province. My presentation is going to be about what we offer to businesses in Gauteng. I'm just going to first talk about what the GGDA is for those that might not know who we are and our mandate. So the GGDA, it is the implementation arm of the Gauteng Economic Development, Department of Economic Development, where we have been formulated to lead, facilitate, as well as manage sustainable job creation, and just to create an enabling environment for economic growth for the Gauteng region or Gauteng province. Our vision is to become a premier catalyst for innovative as well as sustainable job growth and socio-economic development For those that have been in Gauteng long enough, you would remember that back in the days it used to be called JEDA, which was established in 1996. And then it then merged with Blue IQ. The merger took place in 2012, and then from that we became the GGDA. So what we do at the GGDA is we've got two, I'd say, main functional areas that we focus on. We focus on trade and investment. So we focus on getting investors to come in and set up in Gauteng, as well as promoting the exports of products as well as services that are coming in from Gauteng into the rest of the world. We also do economic infrastructure, which is your projects that are aimed at developing the economic infrastructure. We've been focusing mainly lately on revitalization of industrial spaces, mostly that are government owned, just to make sure that they're at a level that they're habitable for businesses that are operating there. And then we've got the business intelligence as well as research, which is quite an anchor for us, especially from the trade and investment unit, just to guide us in terms of what policies, where to look for markets, how to attract investors. But the unit that I come from the trade and investment unit, mostly focusing on business retention, expansions, and aftercare. At the GGDA, we've got a few subsidiaries that fall under the GGDA group, which is you would see, which is your AIDC, if you're looking on the top left. That is your automotive supplier park. They're based in Roslyn. What they do is they just support the OEM sector. They help through skills development, as well as training, as well as incubation programs, the whole value chain that goes into the automotive sector. That's what they do to develop businesses as well as your young people to go into. Then we've got your GIDZ, which is your industrial development zone. They're based at the OR Tambo SEZ. It's for those businesses that are looking into setting up their operation into a special economic zone. You would understand there's various tax benefits for you setting up as well as various incentives. So that is a zone for those that want to be close to OR Tambo for logistics purposes or whatever the purpose may be. That is a separate entity, but it still falls under the GGDA. We've got your innovation hub, which is just there to develop the smart industries innovation. They work very closely with the science and technology as well as your innovative businesses. They try to promote innovation for the greater Gauteng region, as well as your Constitutional Hill, which is here in the city of Joburg Central, which is more of a heritage site. So these are just the sub-entities, but I come from the broader group. So in our unit, which is the Trade, Investment and Regulatory Enablement Unit, you will notice this is what we do. This is similar to what the slide that the city of Joburg had. But in our case, we're focusing on the province. So just to understand, we've divided into 4 sub-units within the GGDA Trade and Investment Unit. Firstly, you will see you've got your investment development, as investment promotion and development. So what they do, some people might not know that there's various efforts that are taken before you see an investor. I'll give an example, like Walmart coming in or Amazon coming in or Vantage or whoever is new, but there's work that goes beyond that. That is promotion work. What that unit does is that they go out into the rest of the world or rest of forums. They work with foreign missions just to promote South Africa, particularly promoting Gauteng for businesses to come in. They source leads. They look into who's looking into coming in into the province. And then they work with getting that. They identify opportunities that are relevant for us to come, for businesses to come and set up. So mostly you'd find that this is your developmental work where they develop a pipeline for business. Some do not need to be told. They already are earmarking Gauteng, but they just want to know, where do they set up? Is it better for them to set up in Ekurhuleni, in the city of Joburg? What are the sectoral advantages of setting up in a certain area? So we guide them with that. But obviously the decision lies with the business itself. We can just guide and give information to what is out there. Then you've got your investment facilitation unit. Now, this is a unit that deals with facilitating the investor. By facilitating, it depends on the sector. Some of them are needing approvals that are sector specific. Some of them are needing EAA approvals. We work with the various departments to help them with that. Some of them might be needing visas. We work with that for visa support. Some of them might be needing to be linked up with businesses that are already in Gauteng within their sector. We do that as well, just to guide them as well as with what incentives and grants are available. Not all of them are looking for incentives. Some of them have got enough capital to do the work. They just want to get in and all just to land softly and have a lovely working environment for them to do their business. We try in our best, but some of the things are not within our scope. Not scope as much, but I'd say within our control. Some of the issues lie within the local government, some are provincial government, and some issues are national. But what we do, we just position ourselves to be able to say, when an investor is coming into Gauteng, we want to meet up with them, we want to get to understand what their needs are, and then we provide them with the support. Then we've got the unit that I come from, which is your business retention, expansion, and aftercare. We'll look at various things within the unit. It's those matters or daily matters that businesses are facing that would inactively make them to pack up and leave, which is the sad case. So we'll sit in those committees with the business forums just to get to understand, is it a water issue? If it's a water issue, we engage in Joburg Water. Is it a city power issue that the businesses in that area are facing? What can we do as a government agency, but working closely with businesses just to promote a voice to the other government agencies, because we've got MOUs as well as agreements with that. We just provide aftercare services. So it depends what is the pain point that business is facing. We also look at expansions. If you are expanding your business, are you looking for land availability? We've got contacts with the relevant property people where we can link you up with land, or you're looking for factory space. It just also depends on what you're looking for in your expansion. Are you looking for EIA approvals? Are you facing delays? Most of the times you'd find that we're dealing with businesses that have been facing delays. We come in at a point to advocate to ensure that the issues that they're facing with their businesses, they are adhered to. And then we just promote and advocate for an investor-friendly environment for businesses to thrive. That's what we do in that unit. Then we've got the trade promotion unit, which is your trade and export. They focus on developing businesses that are looking into export. If you've got a product or a service, you're looking for markets, they help you with linking you up with market. And then if you're looking for trainings, they provide that training. If you're looking to where to position your business, or if you're facing issues, maybe you're facing custom issues, or you're facing issues within, or you're looking for contracts into Africa, you want to know what is out there, they do that. They've got the research. They help businesses to export. So this is what we do at the core. And how we do it, this is quite repetitive, but what we do, we conduct aftercare forums, we work closely with industry associations, we want to understand what are the issues that they're facing, as well as we've developed an investment promotion strategy that we adhere to promote investments into the province. We also just ensure that we provide support to businesses by ensuring that the environment is easy for them to do business. Further to that, we provide training, as I've mentioned, for those that are looking for exports, as well as just to promote the opportunities. In the work that we do, we then focus on these sectors. So we've got 5 developmental corridors of Gauteng. So you'd see these are the sectoral strengths of each corridor. Doesn't mean that that's the only those are the only sectors that are there. But in terms of what the corridor has to offer as strength, this is what our research tells us. So you'd find that when you're looking at the city of Joburg, which is we call the central region, we focus, there's a lot of finance, ICT, services, industries that want to come in and set up. You'll see businesses maybe having a manufacturing plant in Ekurhuleni, but still their head office is here in Sandton, because they want to be close to other services industries. service industries. We focus also on pharmaceuticals within this region. Then if you look at the other regions, you like your Tshwane, which is your auto hub, as well as agriculture, as well as defense and aerospace. If you're looking into Ekurhuleni, they're quite heavy on manufacturing. So you'd find that when we're working with businesses in Ekurhuleni, the issues that they're mostly looking for, they're looking for higher power because they're quite power intensive. They've got different issues that are different to the municipalities, and then we work with businesses to address that, working with the municipality. And then in terms of our developmental corridors, in terms of SEZs, these are the SEZs that we promote. I know that the city of Joburg, there's no SEZ, but these are the SEZs that some are already in place, some are in the process of being designated within the province. The aim is that if you've got an SEZ, it would be lovely to have these SEZs in all these corridors, just to position the businesses in those areas to take part of those incentives that are available for businesses operating in an SEZ setup. Then these are our key partners that we work with. So within the GGDA group, there is an Invest SA one-stop shop Gauteng office, which is based in Centre. So with that, we work with private sector as well as multilateral institutions. We work with the World Bank. We work with the different banks, DBSA, IDC, in terms of funding. Investec, we work with them quite closely. In terms of national government, we work with water and sanitation. You'd find that people needing various approvals. Department of Home Affairs, especially when it comes to international investors that have set up, they've got visa issues that they might be looking for. That's where we come in, as well as IATEC, looking at the various trade tariffs. ESCOM, for those that are looking for power or wanting to sign power agreements, we work with ESCOM on that. Local government, City of Joburg is our close partner. Then as well as provincial government agencies, all provincial agencies, we work with these one. And then this slide is just a slide to show some of the businesses, notable players that we've facilitated, that we've had engagements with, that we are working closely with. Whatever issues that they may be facing, we do have worked with them and are still working with some of them, the likes of Ford, depending on whatever issues that they may be facing. That is a retainment matter. We've worked with Heineken, we've worked with Balloon Properties, the various sites that they've been developing around the Gauteng region, Microsoft, Amazon, just to name a few, but we've got a broader database of because we work business to business, and then we get to understand what issues they're facing, and we see how we can help those businesses in the areas. And that is it. I've got my contact details there. It's actually my email address. I prefer an email if you want to know more. I'm happy to have a chat with you. It's better when we have sometimes one-on-ones. Then I can get to understand, because sometimes because of the work that we do, it's so company specific, you might think that your issue is not something that we address, but then when we have a team meeting, then we can get to understand that actually this is something that we do, because all we are here for is to ensure that businesses invest in Gauteng, businesses remain invested in Gauteng, and whatever support or issues that you're facing, we're there to help, to lend a helping hand. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that presentation, Asi. And I'm sure we can all agree that it's very informative. And there's a slide that I like, this one. Is anyone of you here or any one of your companies there? I don't see any hands. I see shaking of heads. But I see a hand at the back. Is your company represented here? Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you for that comment. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Yes. Thank you so much for those very valuable inputs. We have a Q&A session. I was just checking who's in the room in that presentation, but the councillor has challenged us. I saw ED giving a thumbs up, so we will definitely set up another session specifically for those businesses that did not get a chance to attend. The reason why we are doing this, councillor, is exactly what you are saying. We are aware that there are businesses on the ground that are not necessarily interfacing with ourselves as the Department of Economic Development, and that's why we're calling it a launch. This is one of many engagements that are still coming. So we welcome that invitation. I believe my colleagues from GGDA have also taken note of it. And the reason why I wanted this presentation, I did it intentionally. My comment was that at the next session, I want some of the businesses that are here to also feature in that presentation. And then the other session, once we've engaged the Midrand community, we also want to see some of the businesses that are not represented there also featured. So that was going to be my point. And again, going back to what I had mentioned earlier on, we are here to partner with yourselves as businesses so that we come up with the solutions that are meaningful for the advancement of our economy. And maybe just to indicate the reason why we are here in Region A, or why we decided to rather go region by region, is because we also understand that the landscape does not look the same. The problems for Region A will not necessarily be the same as Region D or Region G, as an example. So we wanted to make sure that we are regional focused in our approach, so that when we come up with solutions, we come up with solutions that are speaking to the region. ED made an example earlier on about the mess that is happening at you said Monte Cassino, the highway, you called it something then, the road, something, the traffic. So that will not be applicable to somebody that's in Region E, for example. So we want to know what are those pain points that businesses are experiencing, so that we can come up with solutions that speaks exactly for those businesses. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to move, and I'm going to call, I think I should have put that on my phone because the person has changed. Let me just check. I apologize. Just want to make sure I have the correct name for the next speaker. No, I don't have the correct name. Yeah, my phone, Ikai. So the next presentation that is coming up will be from Productivity SA, and they are going to share with the audience the opportunities that are available. And giving us that presentation is Ms. Rose Morweng. What I'm going to do, they've sent us a video. So I'm just going to play the video, and once the video finishes, we will then call you to the podium.
Productivity SA, Competitiveness Improvement Services Program. Productivity SA is a Schedule 3A public entity of the Department of Employment and Labor with the mandate to promote employment growth and Productivity SA, Competitiveness Improvement Services Program. Productivity SA is a Schedule 3A public entity of the Department of Employment and Labor with the mandate to promote employment growth and productivity, thereby contributing to South Africa's socio-economic development and competitiveness. Our value proposition is to provide productivity and competitiveness improvement solutions to enhance the productivity and operational efficiency of enterprises throughout the business life cycle to accelerate the creation of wealth and decent work. Productivity SA's Competitiveness Improvement Services Program focuses on creating an enabling environment conducive to entrepreneurship and sustainable enterprises that can create productive employment and decent work. The South African economy is made up of 2.36 million SMMEs, of which over 650,000 of them are in the formal economy and the remaining 1.58 million in the informal economy. CIS supports South Africa's strategic objectives in scaling up efforts to promote long-term industrialization and transformation of the economy and to achieve a productive high-income economy which is globally competitive. Competitiveness Improvement Services enhances the appropriate capacities of SMMEs and cooperatives to adopt world-class productivity enhancement best practices, focusing on products, processes, and people. The SMMEs and cooperatives, especially those in the productive sectors with strong growth and employment multipliers within the priority sectors, are targeted. CIS prioritizes the participation of historically disadvantaged people and regions in the economy and therefore support meaningful BBBEE using instruments such as special economic zones, industrial parks, and black industrialist interventions. Linked to the reimagined industrial strategy and the sector master plans, the following sectors have been prioritized. Industrial sectors: automotive, clothing, textile, leather and footwear, gas, chemicals and plastics, renewables or green economy, steel and metal fabrication, agriculture and agro-processing, creative sector, and the oceans economy. The Competitiveness Improvement Services Program objectives are to develop the skills of SMMEs in order to establish, grow and sustain their businesses to have an impact in the local economy, to ultimately focus on improving productivity and competitiveness of these enterprises and make them sustainable, and to initiate a journey towards improved service delivery, profitability, and organizational competitiveness. CIS programs provide support for emerging and stable businesses. In the emerging sector, small and micro enterprises, we focus on training programs and solutions, including mentorship and coaching. Trainings range from productivity awareness, learning to measure and manage, business performance improvement workshops focus on improving profitability and employment creation through wastage elimination, increased sales, reduced operational costs through speed and quality improvement, maximized profits, and creating an early warning system to detect distress prior to its arrival. The outcome is to promote a productivity culture and mindset, as well as driving accountability for productivity performance at enterprise, sectoral, and national levels. We further aligned ourselves to the district development model, whereby we capacitate productivity champions, ensuring there is support through stakeholders and other key partners within all districts of South Africa. In the stable businesses, small, medium and large corporations or enterprises, the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition fund interventions which includes the Kaizen program and the Workplace Challenge program. The Kaizen program is a 4 to 6 months intervention and consists of the following implementation stages. Phase 1, baseline assessment and capacity building. Phase 2, process analysis and project identification. Phase 3, implementation. And Phase 4, performance monitoring or impact analysis. The Kaizen program's aim is to introduce the key concepts and tools of Kaizen,
to identify Kaizen champions and capacitate the champions with tools, to create active participation, to facilitate problem-solving techniques aimed at improving key performance indicators such as cost, quality, speed, delivery, morale, and safety, and to define key activities to drive continuous improvement. The Workplace Challenge Program is implemented over a 12-month period and is a Department of Trade, Industry and Competition supply-side program managed by Productivity SA. The Workplace Challenge Program utilizes the following toolkit modules. Toolkit 1, Goal Alignment. Toolkit 2, Cleaning and Organizing. Toolkit 3, Teamwork. And Toolkit 4, Leadership. The program assists South African organizations to enhance productivity and competitiveness by improving workplace relations, by implementing world-class practices or best operating practices, and by sharing and disseminating experiences. The key strategies of best practice organizations are to implement leadership practices that promote teamwork, collective participation, continuous learning, and flexibility, to focus on simultaneous improvement of quality, speed or delivery, cost, and morale, to establish close links with customers and suppliers, to drive both linear and non-linear improvement initiatives, and to eliminate all forms of waste and making value flow. The Competitiveness Enhancement Program implements productivity and competitiveness enhancement initiatives with the focus on operational efficiency within exporting or potential export clients. The Emerging Exporters Program is a 6-month intervention and the Large Exporters Program is 10 months. The focus is on productivity and innovation, value chain efficiency, as well as export market access through clustering of enterprises. The aim of the Competitiveness Enhancement Program is to increase the competitiveness of South African enterprises, to assist enterprises to overcome the challenge of entry in the global market, and to become more productive and competitive. Some of the outcomes of the programs are to improve productivity, to improve operational efficiency by improving resource utilization, reducing cost, eliminating waste, improve quality and profitability, as well as to sustain and create jobs. Productivity SA's enterprise development and support programs, with the focus on SMMEs, aid in improving the competitiveness and sustainability of these enterprises. This is in line with Productivity SA's mandate of promoting employment growth and productivity, thereby contributing to South Africa's socio-economic development and competitiveness.
Hello. Good morning, everybody. My name is Rose Morweng. I'm from Productivity SA. I will not waste a lot of your time because I think the more was shared in the video. So what I can add to what it's been shared in the video is our offices are in Midrand and we service the whole of South Africa. We've got region offices in Cape Town, Eastern Cape, and then we also service Northwest. So we are servicing the whole of South Africa. And number two, we've got strategic partnerships with different departments. We are partners with a department, the GDDA and economic development. So already there's work that we are doing with those departments. So again, if you want to be in one of our programs, you can apply as an organization or as a company. So we're looking at companies that have at least 11 employees and they've been operational for the period of 2 years. They have financial statements. So those are the emerging companies. We've got another program with ILO. ILO is an international labor organization, still to improve the operational efficiency of the businesses. So in that program, we're looking at companies that are participating in the automotive sector and footwear, leather and footwear. So in that program, we're looking at companies that have been operational again for the period of more than 2 years. They have employed at least 20 employees, and they are also financial statement or at least management accounts. So our mandate is to improve productivity in businesses. And we're using different tools to improve that. One of the I would say the best tool that we have is Kaizen methodology that we've been implementing, and we're learning a lot from Japanese. That's their product, and in South Africa, a little has been done with Kaizen programs. So hence we are here as Productivity SA, and our programs are fully funded. Don't be worried. You will not pay anything as a business, so they are fully funded. Thank you so much. That's great.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. What we are going to do, we will share all the information, the presentation. I had requested your other colleague that presented at Region E to share a poster that then calls for businesses to apply. So once we have that information, we will share with yourselves. Again, going back to the GGDA presentation, it will be great in the next meeting when Productivity SA presents, if we can say these are some of the businesses that have benefited from some of the programs. Having attended I think it was an award ceremony for Workplace Challenge, I was very impressed to see and to hear the testimonies that were coming from businesses that were testifying that they participated in the program, and they were demonstrating some of the benefits that they had derived from participating. Others were highlighting these are the costs that we've saved from eliminating wastage and all of that. So it will be great, ladies and gentlemen, if you can also participate in that. Without wasting time, we will continue with our program. I've been told that our next presenter is running a bit late, so we will skip. We will then move to the next item, which is highlighting some of the key success stories of our partnership as the city with business. And I think this item really speaks to the point that I mentioned earlier on around collaboration, the importance of co-creation of solutions to assist us as the city as well in our efforts to creating that conducive environment for businesses to thrive. So as much as we are here to give you the platform as businesses to share what are some of those pain points that you have, I think it's equally important to also highlight some of the successes or success stories that we have through our partnerships with the private sector. I'm going to call Ms. Michaela Donaldson, who represents the Fourways Improvement District. She is going to share with us their experience with the city. Can we give her a round of applause as she comes forward?
Yes. No problem. All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you. We will deal with the IT piece, but for the most part, I am able to speak off the top of my head. So thank you all so much for the opportunity, and thank you for giving us a platform to actually share a little bit of the work that we've been doing within the Fourways Improvement District. The Fourways Improvement District is a voluntary not-for-profit company established by property owners and stakeholders within the Fourways node. That's the greater Fourways node, which got a lot bigger than we originally anticipated very quickly. And it has really been created as a vehicle in which private sector partners can actually collaborate and work with key stakeholders, critically being able to work with the city as well as province and any other structures that are operating within our space so that we can get things done. It was initiated last year. We've been in operations for over a year now by various stakeholders within the Fourways space. And the keystone project that really launched the initiative was the Adopt a Robot, which was done in partnership with the province, particularly around how we improve access up the key corridors coming into the Fourways node. So that's particularly Winnie Mandela from the M2, coming up into the Fourways Mall, and then all the way north up to the N14. We have a few still to go, but really it was about saying, what do we need to be able to do to ensure that our traffic lights are working, to ensure that traffic is moving, and to ensure that those corridors are safe. We quickly realized that it wasn't just a quick win of let's get the robots connected. We needed to have an infrastructure in place to really support what those projects were trying to achieve and ensure that that work was sustainable. Just off that project alone, we had over 1.2 million rand in support for the adoption of a robot project from the private sector. That included contractor payments, that included materials, and all of that was done in partnership. It wasn't about taking responsibility away from the necessary role players and the works that they need to do, but really about trying to bridge the gap and trying to say, these are things that are getting us stuck in the mud. How can we help? How do we do this? And really off the back of that project, we have had a huge uptake in people trying to say, what can we start doing in our space? What's the small change we can make that starts really having a catalytic impact on how this area is perceived, how we can continue to bring people into this space, and how we can protect the value and investment that has been made by businesses in this environment. We're still struggling a bit, so we do have some pretty pictures. But I think what's quite critical for us to highlight is fundamental to our approach as an organization is partnership. It's partnership amongst ourselves, it's partnership amongst stakeholders, and critically it's partnership with the entities at a either provincial and local government level that are meant to be doing certain things and for whatever reason might need a little bit of assistance. So we are really trying to find those types of projects and working with those key role players in trying to affect change. And the one that I don't have off the top of my head, which is the slide that I want to be able to share, is just some of the investment that has been made by stakeholders within this area, and quite critically the Fourways Mall. I'm sure everyone is aware and has seen the articles prior to last year, and there were negative stories being told about the condition of the mall and vacancy. And really, there has been a massive investment in strategy, financially, and really trying to reshape this node because it's the anchor. If Fourways Mall doesn't work, the neighboring properties are affected, the node is affected, and there is decay, and this knock-on effect will inevitably take place. So we've been incredibly lucky by the support that we have gotten from the Fourways Mall as an organization, and really the investment that they have made into this node and economy, as well as many of the neighboring retail blocks as well. We've in the past year seen the relaunch of Leaping Frog, so that was a reinvestment into this space and completely changed that Uranium and Winnie Mandela intersection, and really trying to take back certain spaces that have not been performing in the optimal way. I'll speak to it for now at least. Yeah. And this is public, so it can be shared. See that it's all merging into one thing. That's not a problem. Off the top of your head. So what I'll do is this. Yeah. Do you want to try plug mine in?
Yeah, maybe let's run that. So this next.
It shouldn't need that because I don't have audio.
Okay.
Yeah. There we go. Thank you. I won't repeat too many of the things. But I think really it's about recognizing that Fourways is this dynamic hub of business, lifestyle, and opportunity. Just in terms of what our objectives are as a company, and our vision is to position Fourways as a leading economic, commercial, and residential hub, and to drive that collective action and partner-led service delivery that uplifts the area for everyone. As I've noted, critical to our approach is partnership, addressing service delivery, and assisting where we can in that. Identifying catalytic projects, so these are small, quick wins that can start changing how our areas are perceived and create opportunity within those spaces, and critically around cooperation. One would think that you don't want to be partners with your neighboring retail block that's all competing for the same type of business, but really there's a recognition that we will all succeed if we're succeeding together, and that cooperation has been critical in terms of our approach. So in terms of our goals and what it is that we're focused on achieving is our safety and security, our public environment, and enhancing and addressing issues where we have either decay or service delivery issues that are impacting the performance or the perception of the area. Critically, accessibility. The traffic is renowned in Fourways, so how we can tackle that and what we need to do to address that is constantly driving our vision and how we address the area, addressing service delivery, as well as infrastructure. So that's going to include street lights, traffic lights, all of the critical infrastructure that's the foundation on which businesses are going to be able to perform. So as I had indicated, just a high-level highlight from Fourways Mall specifically. They have spent over 400 million on the basics, so that's improving the access to the mall, and addressing maintenance within the facility. They have had an additional 47 stores open in the past 18 months. Today they opened Walmart, and that is an additional 90 jobs, which are supporting 270 families. They launched their night market 4 months ago. That has grown from 25 vendors to 120 local vendors supported within that particular space. And they have had over 4,500 customers coming and attending that event. They have their taxi rank, and that holds about 350 taxis in the mall. It is a very clean, very well-run taxi rank, but inevitably doesn't serve everything within the node, and that's a critical. There had been some discussion earlier around transport-oriented development and how we start looking at that lens, and that is going to be fundamental for the region, and for us to address how we start tackling that issue. And I'm sure Councillor Foley will speak more to that shortly. They have added 2 e-hailing drop-off and collection areas. They've installed EV stations for public and commercial delivery vehicles. They have installed one of the fastest fiber lines, so that's a 5G line for all visitors. They have about 170,000 active connections on average, with 20k gigabytes of free data transferred, with a monthly value of about 1.5 million of free data that is flowing through this particular facility. So it's just giving a bit of a snapshot in terms of how much is being invested in this space to make these spaces work. As I said, this is the largest and one of the keystones in the particular node, but we've got a number of our other retail partners in the space which continue to make similar investments and similar commitments to the node. Just at a high level, some of the interventions that I spoke of earlier around our catalytic projects, and this is really around trying to clean up those corridors. Our approach is to prioritize Winnie Mandela, Cedar, and Witkoppen as key delivery routes for people coming into the node. If those work, if those are clean, if those are safe, it means people will want to come into the node, will feel good about working and living in this district. So those have really been critical. Over the past year, we've had successful cleanups of the Cedar and Fourways Boulevard corner. This is around taking illegal activities that should not be happening in those environments and occupying that space with additives. So enhancing, planting, occupying the space with placemaking interventions and ensuring that they are safe for pedestrians to walk on and to use. So our objective is really to clean up activities that should not, based on the bylaws, based on the regulations, be taking place in those environments and cleaning them up so that they can enhance the area. So just a high level, this is the corner of Witkoppen and Winnie Mandela. Still have a lot of work to do to clean up that entire space, but really it was around ensuring that those activities were removed. And this isn't our latest picture, but we've got a whole bunch of greenery and trees that were planted subsequent to this particular cleanup. And that included a partnership with City Parks. Our original trees planted specifically through the FID was 600 trees planted between Winnie Mandela, Fourways Boulevard, Witkoppen, and Cedar. We have another 170 still coming for the FID partners and members to plant, and we assisted JCPZ with the planting of 3,300 trees from Uranium to the N14. The goal was to do them in an hour. It took us a little bit longer, but in one afternoon we had 3,300 trees planted from Uranium to the N14 with volunteers, with business support, with our ward councillors and stakeholders from the city all rolling up their sleeves in the rain. Mind you, it was raining that day as well. Got very muddy. So if you do see a photo of me, please ignore it. I did look like I was dragged through the road. But really it was off that partnership and everyone coming together to achieve something. We're setting ourselves some potentially unrealistic goals for next year, but I won't announce them yet whilst we're still working. Build momentum. We think we're going to be able to do 6,000. The goal is 30 minutes, but we'll see whether that's achievable. We'll try to do it a little bit before rainy season so that we're not stuck in the rain doing it. But really it was about people coming together. And we showed that when that happens, rain or shine, people are prepared to get things done. And just a high level, these are our members and some of our partners. In terms of the district itself, we're only just over a year old, so considering how much we've managed to achieve, we're really proud of all the efforts and all of the support that we've gotten, and our anticipation is in the next year we can continue to grow and continue to have the impact and improve the Fourways node. And with that, thank you.
Thank you so much for that. It's okay, we don't need it anymore. Thank you so much, Michaela, for that very insightful and inspirational presentation. I'm not sure if I'm the only one that has been inspired with the work that you have done through the organization. I'm also interested in that slide of partners again. I'll sound like a broken record, but I think the reason why I have that interest is because there is so much that we can achieve when we put our hands together, whether as a business or as the government. So we commend you for the wonderful work that you have done, and hopefully we'll also see the city as part of the partners there, Michaela. Hint, hint. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I think this presentation sort of gave us a good foundation for the next part of the program, which is our opportunity to listen from yourselves as business. I saw some hands went up earlier on. It was not yet time for business to come in. But what we want to do with the next part of the program is to have an open dialogue with yourselves as business. We are interested in understanding what are some of those pain points that you have as business, what are some of those opportunities that you have identified where you can partner with ourselves so that we can co-create those solutions. And maybe a final point, Michaela, on your presentation. In our engagement with Region E, there were some businesses that put their hands up saying, we want to work with the city as long as you can guide us in terms of how do we then go about doing it. So if you are open, perhaps you can also come and speak to them, share some of your lessons that you have learned along the way, and maybe you can also inspire some ideas from their end as well, because I think you've done incredibly well. But with that said, I want to see if there's anyone in the room that has a question or a comment. I will recognize the gentleman that wanted to speak earlier on, and I said it's not yet time for Q&A, so that will be the first hand. Are there any other questions or comment? Yeah, that gentleman over there. Before you start, sir, I just want to check if there's anyone else that wants to come in. Then that will be the second hand, and then the councillor will be the third one. So that will be the three hands for our first round. May you kindly introduce yourself as well as the name of the organization.
Great. Good day to you. My name is Godard Khitsani. I represent a company called Smukeliso Consulting. It's a management consulting boutique in SMEs, co-founded by ex-partners from your Big Four accounting and strategic companies. The reason I raised my hand earlier on, MC, was you had a slide there that spoke to, and is it players? Yeah, and then, but before that slide, there was a slide which spoke to partners. So I really wanted to see the partners there, and actually ascertain if both slides do have, like the councillor was saying, I wonder if you've got SMMEs there, because we represent SMMEs. We operate in the consulting space. I know there's a process in terms of procuring business from the city, but it will be very interesting to see who the players are, more especially from the SMMEs, as they are a backbone of the economy of the country and obviously the municipality. Yeah, so my response or question would be, do you have a view of the SMMEs that have partnered with the city and are actually making the city viable in terms of achieving its mandates and objectives? Thank you.
Thank you for that question. The next one is the lady over there.
Sanbonani. The next one is Umazwani over there. My name is Rita, popularly known as Umamzwane. I represent many companies, as an entrepreneur and a business person. Number one, I just want to say thank you for being invited to, this gathering, because I represent the township economy. But many people, when they hear my name, they know Ushisanyama, which is in Bezo, which is in Ivory Park, and that's Busy Corner. But then there is also, I'm also into tracking, and coming back to the reason why we are here, I do development as well, but the smaller scale development, not the big one. Also, there is a company called Twala Motors that I'm a director in, and the focus is the automotive services. For me, I don't think, it's not a question, it's more of a comment that I would like the city to note, and particularly today, that there are also investors. Coming from the township, there is a big gap when it comes to the townships that were developed after democracy, because the town planning there was never completed, the process. So it was never concluded. So in most cases, when we invite the investors, which is what we've done, the likes of Omar Singita, I may use my example, but it's not just me alone. In Gauteng, not only in Gauteng, but nationally. And when the lady was talking about, I just want to remember her name, Asisipo, was talking about, from GGDA, was talking about enabling environment. And what do we say, what do we mean when we talk about enabling environment, particularly in townships? And again, what's her name? Michaela. I'm not sure if I should say I envy them or I am jealous, because what they have done is exactly what we call a public-private partnership. And they would not have done it without having the support of the city. Because if you need to remove those people, the city must come in, the bylaws and everything else. But coming back to town planning, then it makes it difficult when you bring investors in to say, like Omar Singita that I'm mentioning, back in the days, it was around about 2024 in many of these townships. They looked at the area and they said, you know what, we can do the development here. But then the minute they start checking, all the rights, all the, is the property prepared because it belongs to the city, you find that it's actually not prepared. For SMMEs, it then becomes a huge challenge, because to prepare a property for development, it's a lot of money that you must spend. In our case, as Twala Motors, when I'm saying, I'm not making this just our case, but GGDA in particular, take this as an example, because you said, if you have these challenges, guys, come to us. But in our case, you can imagine SMME in the township parting with millions to be able to develop a motor city. Licenses are there, everything is there. Even the plans have been approved, but you now can't develop, and you've involved private sector by bringing them in the township, and you selling the revitalization of township economy. And over and above that, we also know with the stats that 900 billion to a trillion rand comes from township economies. Only 200 billion is from informal. So if that is not addressed, to make sure that those processes that were left, because we also understand, I'm just going to be short now, we also understand that when these townships were developed after democracy, the priority first was to make sure that people have got accommodation. But then at the same time, there were business zonings. And those business zonings, it's that area that was not concluded. And it, in fact, Ivory Park, if I were to use it, does not even have, and it falls under Region A. I also like the fact that instead of saying, call Midrand, call Fourways, let's just get the region and move from region to region, because it's easy to address this. And getting investors to come to the township as well, whilst we're addressing these issues, it may not be that practical, but spaces like these are the spaces that are perfect to discuss this. In closing, when we talk about conducive environment, we need to be able to separate conducive environment in affluent suburbs and conducive environment in the township. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's good to see somebody from Ivory Park here. Thank you for coming. I would like to compliment firstly the Fourways Improvement District. They've done an exceptional job, absolutely exceptional job in putting this together. I think it takes a true champion to drive something like that, and it takes the private sector to drive it. Unfortunately, the support from the council, province, doesn't always come forthcoming. And I'm glad that we're here today. And I'm glad the regional director, who's in Region A now, is busy driving this initiative, because I see great potential in the new regional director in Region A. I want to talk about the SMMEs. SMMEs have not got a platform to express themselves at this moment. We've just launched, well, the province has just approved a new road in 3 wards in Midrand. And in those 3 wards, we've had meetings with SMMEs. More than 300 SMMEs came to those meetings, and they've got nowhere to express themselves. There's a business forum that was set up 15 years ago in Midrand. There's no terms of reference under what they're working under. I'd like to know from the department if that Johannesburg Business Forum terms of reference has ever been looked at again in the last 15 years. Has it been revised? And where do we stand with SMMEs? Because they themselves don't even know where they stand. And they don't know where to go, or what to do, or how to express themselves to the city, to the province. I hear all through the presentations you've got fantastic platforms, but nobody knows them. It's the first time I've heard about this platform in Midrand. I'd love to take those 30 SMMEs I've just got on my database for this road to them, to go and see what they're doing there, so that they can express themselves there. So that's one thing I'd like to follow up on. The other thing is, this lady's quite correct. Town planning. Edie, the town planning department needs to be part of your department when you come out and address the residents. Because what she's saying is quite right. There's so much town planning irregularities that have happened in Midrand over the last 20 years. And I'm talking from experience. I've been in Midrand as a councillor for 20 years. This is my 20th year. And I've worked with developers, I've worked with residents all over Midrand. And unfortunately, for them to express the economic growth in the townships, they've got no structures. And I was very concerned at one stage that the city did away with the precinct plans. Precinct plans can also happen in townships. We mustn't forget that. It's great to have one in Sandton Central and anywhere else, but we can create them in Ivory Park. There's opportunities there. There's businesses in Ivory Park that are growing, that want to invest in precinct plans. We need to consider precinct plans in the townships as well. Then for the last 10 years, I've asked for 2 precinct plans to develop in my ward alone. One is the Kailami Commercial Park, and the other is extending the precinct from Waterfall down to Siemens. And I'm glad the regional director has now taken the initiative to talk to the businesses in that area. So we've had our first meeting, and I hope we're going to find expression in increasing that node, that precinct, further down from Waterfall. Because the people from Siemens who are here on contract are walking every day from Siemens to the Mall of Africa, and they're getting attacked on Pretorius Road. These are international investors who are working at Siemens. We need to create a space for them where they can walk safely, and we've got vendors on Pretorius Road. We've got about 15 vendors on Pretorius Road. It's chaos. The traffic is chaos. They're parking everywhere and anywhere. And those vendors, they do get checked if they are illegal, and they are. And the business people are using them. But we need formality. That's a business node. We need formality in that business node. Then we've got Waterfall. Waterfall unfortunately came because the CBD of Midrand was never developed. The CBD of Midrand was neglected for many years. And because the Gautrain station was not put on the Zonke Sizwe land where Old Mutual was, that was the original plan. The city took their time, and Waterfall then stepped in and invested there, and we now got another node, business node. CBD, almost, is taken over from Midrand CBD. Midrand CBD is a mess. The RD and his teams go in there every month to try and clean up there. Edie, we need some kind of connection between Waterfall and the Gautrain. Waterfall has wanted to build a monorail from the Mall of Africa to the Gautrain station. And I believe the province is holding them back. If you can please follow up on that for us, because if we can get a monorail from the Gautrain station to Waterfall, we can get people from Alex, families from Alex, getting on the Gautrain at Marlborough to Midrand on the monorail to the Mall of Africa. And maybe then we can get the Mall of Africa and Waterfall Management Company investing in a bigger node, not just in their own space, like Fourways Improvement District. But at the moment, they're only concentrating on their own space, and they're now talking about making that a precinct, making that a city improvement district. And we can't have a us and them in Midrand. We've got a us and them. We talk about pre-1994. We've got lots of young people moving into Warner Valley, Halfway Gardens, who are renting. They can't afford to buy. They've just got a new job. They've got a new car. They can't start a family there. And we're talking about a us and them. Waterfall on the one side of Allendale Road, and Warner Valley, Halfway Gardens on the left side. And they think they're the poorer family. We have to connect these two areas in one ward so that there's a space to grow economically for the whole ward. Now you all know that that area is growing exponentially. The developers in that area are waiting for water. There's at least 6 developments that are waiting for the water towers. Economic development is holding up the process. There's land acquisitions that are sitting in economic development for more than 3 years, waiting to get that water tower up there. And the water, you bring the water to Midrand, you're going to get more economic growth in Midrand and more spaces. So there's a lot of things I need to discuss. I'm not going to give you all of them here, but I do want you to understand that companies like this man and this lady cannot grow if we don't support them in Region A. And we are part of Region A, not just Fourways.
Yeah.
I hope you understand what I'm saying.
We got
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you so much, Councillor. And I think you have a better understanding given the number of years, as you have mentioned, more than 20 years of working in the region. I'm not speaking for our executive director because he will respond, but I also see an opportunity to have a meeting with yourself so that we can go through those issues that you have mentioned. With that said, I'm going to ask EDRD, and I see the hand. I'm going to ask EDRD and Asisipo to then respond to some of the questions, if there is a need to respond. And then what we are going to do, you are recognized. What we are going to do, we're taking the first round of questions. So once they've responded, we will then go to the next round, and you will be the first person. Or is it are you responding to the questions?
No, I'm not responding to a question, but since you are calling the executive to respond, maybe if I'm the only one who's...
We'll come to the next round, sir. We'll give you an opportunity, okay. Yes.
Thank you. RD doesn't mean I'm taking over from you if I start first. So thanks I think for the questions and inputs. And also there are a lot of areas where, for example, because we are in Region A, right? But given the vastness of the region, sometimes when you are in one corner, you may not necessarily practically touch people in another corner of the region. So we do take up the request that we need to come to Midrand specifically and engage with businesses there as well, so that we are able to see how we assist them, working together with them as well. So with SMMEs, just to start, so really I think earlier when I spoke, it did indicate that at the heart of our growth program is SMMEs as an anchor to drive that, both innovation through our support interventions. We're looking at scaling that up. And I think through, just to indicate, through our export promotion, we do have an export promotion that where we've got a lot of our SMMEs, especially from townships, but also generally from our regions, that have very good products, and working with GGDA and other partners, we're already beginning to see their products going to other countries, expanding their markets. So they are really at the heart of the work that we do, and we continue to support them as well. We do also have opportunity centers in our regions, where we try and enable accessibility in terms of information, and some of our programs that we have where we are supporting SMMEs as well. But also what we did, I think early this year, we also realized that both in terms of solutions for SMMEs and other solutions, we didn't want to assume that through us and our partners we've got other solutions. So we issued a call for partnerships to try and spread the scope. Whether it's people that, for example, are saying SMMEs in their nature, or small businesses that are in production, don't have time to manage their businesses and do other things. So what else can be done to assist them? But also just create networks, strong networks that makes us stronger as a collective than individual businesses. So really, SMMEs are at the heart of the work that we do. So just to maybe zoom on also earlier I did mention that I think the city, the last time the city issued permits for informal traders was in 2013, before there was a court case, right? And that was a struggle. So this year we've started reissuing permits, and we are going to see, working with CIDs and other organizations and communities, we're going to start seeing a better management of how we use space, especially areas that are hotspots for illegal trading, but also So we also need to balance it. On one hand, we acknowledge that we can't have people trading everywhere. It creates chaos. It's a health issue. It creates chaos for traffic and all that. But at the same time, we must also create spaces that are conducive for people to trade. And I did give an example earlier that working in Sandton, for example, on the Kanaki, that street as you go to Gautrain station, where you've got that traders there selling food. So the question is, so there is demand for that food there or that service, but they are not necessarily in a space that is demarcated for it. What do we do? So we engaged with the property owners, and we're in the process of assisting them there. So that it's organized, you are able to put proper ablution, wash bays. It's a space that we can all be proud of, but also we manage crime and other things in that space. So those are some of the initiatives that continuously, they may not be the same across the board, but where we've got a problem and we are able to say, but in addressing the problem, how do we still accommodate some of the traders so they can make a living? We do that. But there are areas that are no-no based on our regulations. Issues around road reserves where people are not allowed to trade, and so there we enforce by law. But there are areas where we'll consider, and there are areas where we'll also put in infrastructure, like shelters for them to trade properly in an organized way. So I think that's the part of the work that we're continuously doing. And I do agree on the planning, some of the planning challenges. Mazwane, it's good to see you again. I will come for the Chisanyama this weekend, hopefully. So it's good to see you again. So definitely, I think that is an issue. I think if you link it between Ivory and Midrand in terms of our biggest issue there, that colleagues in planning, remember I'm from economic development, but we work with planning. A lot of the issues there have to do with capacity. Capacity for us to be able to accommodate more investors, developers that really can contribute there. And I think we do have these ongoing discussions. Very recently, we had engagements with some of the investors around Midrand in terms of how do we really resolve the issues there. And you will know how the waterfall area, some of the issues that they were resolved. And as a city, while we're trying to be innovative, but also we consider that we've got resource constraints sometimes. So you will see that the city is going to also embark on reviewing our developers' contribution policy, so that in instances where we may not necessarily have enough money, we can still be able to enable investors to address some of the gaps that we have, so that we don't hold people back forever. So we do acknowledge some of those challenges. I think the idea, Councillor, around monorail is an interesting one. We'll take it up with transport colleagues. I think it can be an innovation in terms of how you connect communities to critical economic nodes as well. So the last time I heard about monorail, I think it did not fly. It was a different proposal, but thanks for that one. On the precincts, I think we are working on a few precincts as we speak now. I think at the moment we're looking at Q and what's the other one? Yeah, so there are a few precincts that we're looking at, and I think we'll eventually go to other areas. So we will take note the request for the Kailami Waterfall precinct as well as part of what the work that we can do. So I think the reason why we're not doing all the other areas that we have in mind at the same time is just resources, but I think we will also look at the Kailami Commercial Park Waterfall, Councillor, as you've indicated. Yes, definitely, at the heart of it. So I don't want to mention Fourways because I live around here, so people will think I'm doing that vendor thing. Oh, Shumela vendor. So yeah, definitely I think those. But at the heart of it, we do agree. Hence, we are creating this platform. To be able to, so we said earlier that usually when we engage communities on IDPs, we focusing on different things. So we want to really create platforms so we can engage businesses and say, but the issues that affect businesses and opportunities that we come across, some we have that we can start communicating with businesses. So we will then come, I think, to Midrand, RD, and have that opportunity to also engage SMMEs there, so that we just explain, also take them through what we do, and some of the things that we're doing, the work we're doing, the opportunities that we have for SMMEs, and how we can interface continuously with them around some of the things that we are doing as well. So I think those were some of the issues that I thought I can respond to directly, but others I think we will know them and we'll be able to really take them up. But so in terms of the township economy, just to indicate, I think that is a very critical in our pillars that we showed earlier. It is really a critical enabler, both in terms of impact and but also as the new growth areas. I'm sure you would have seen that almost all the big companies have a strategy around how they want to expand into the township. But how that happens, obviously, we need to make sure that there is inclusivity. We still instill the principles around transformation, how we enable young people to also participate in those as well. And so there are programs that we are already implementing as the city as well around that, both in terms of supporting spaza shops, value chain support in terms of goods that are produced in the townships, that we then interconnect them with markets so that they're able to grow. You're also using digital platforms that are there to be able to support some of these products. Many of them, by the way, very good products that are coming from the townships that we're already supporting. We're seeing a lot of them even on shelves. But I know that most SMMEs have realized that the traditional shelf space as a market, as a way of selling your product, it's no longer as viable as it used to be during our father's times, during those days. So there are many other ways. SMEs are creative. They're using digital platform, other means that, and we are also supporting them in terms of their journey to growth, because we know as they grow, they create jobs in our communities as well. Ardi, thank you.
Thanks, Edie. I think mine is quite short. Edie, the issues around the business forums or the SMMEs that we tend to cross paths with. Colleagues from our end as CRAM or heading up the region, we do not put any bureaucracy or systems in place for the people not to organize themselves. What we then indicate, ED, and I think I should also state this quite officially, is that we do get approached by the various forums, either indicating that they represent SMMEs or they represent the businesses in the region. Ourselves, we can't stop them from that interaction. But what we need to emphasize is the fact that such forums are not going to be gatekeepers to access to the opportunities that are coming through, either through a construction or any other work that we are initiating from our end. And we also indicate that when you come through and we recognize that you are so-and-so forum, you are a stakeholder in the region, not a partner, which people tend to actually confuse in some other instances. And I think with the meeting that I had with Councillor Tepe in one of the sittings, one of the forums was saying that we need to be consulted when projects are coming through and engaged. You are a stakeholder, you will then get invited to a public meeting wherein the project is being introduced to any other person that is interested. So from our end, what we need to clearly indicate is that the forums can be there, but they are not going to be our first point of contact as and when projects are being introduced. They will be invited as stakeholders. The second one is up around the township precincts. The team led by Mr. Tebogo here, a very troublesome gentleman, I must indicate, but very tall as well at heart. I have actually requested that they prioritize Swazi-in as one of the precincts that we are going to be looking at in the townships. I don't want to divulge much ED, but safe to say that in the next few weeks, or let me say maybe perhaps at maximum 2 weeks, there will be some kind of action that is taking place in the precincts. And colleagues have also been following. You may have noticed that with the Galfontein as well, that particular space, we've had much interest in it, and we're also starting to adopt that as a priority. But we do take cognizance that some of the illegalities that is taking place in the township needs to actually be managed. We are not opposed to informal economy, but it must be a regulated informal economy. It can't be that everyone is everywhere. And it must actually be an economic opportunities for people that are actually giving back to our own community members from our end. I think, Chair, I've taken note the input around boulders, ED, a business present that exists and one that is to be developed. One should not kill the other. With the area of boulders and the likes, nowadays, I think if we were to ask as to how many of the people here have been there for shopping for something else, very few people go there. They tend to go to Mall of Africa and the other spaces. But it is a priority present from our end in terms of the Tebogos work. The intention is to actually bring it back into the mode that it was when it was first established. Chair, I think on that note, those are the issues that from my end, I am then able to respond to. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, ED and RD. I will now take the second round of questions. I've recognized you already. Are there any other hands in the room? I'm going to recognize the gentleman behind you, Councillor, and then you can be the third one. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Peter Molachani. I come from Diepsloot, representing a business forum, but also here as a property developer. I think firstly, maybe let's also extend our word of thanks to Fourways with the good work they've done in terms of these initiatives, including the planting of trees to N14 and the cleanup, but also that now is creating problem within our own area as well, of which when we engage, I think we had an opportunity to sit last week with our region in terms of bylaws. Also, we are saying it cannot be clean in Fourways, then it looks like now things are going to be dumped in Diepsloot. Those who were here, who were somehow confiscated trolleys, now they are back in our area, where now it's becoming an influx. And by the time we are going to try to enforce those laws, it will be very, very chaotic. And then tomorrow the township, it will be up in arms, then we're just on TV and papers. But having said that, I think I had an opportunity last 2 days to be around the Ivory side. I'm also echoing an issue of township, the planning part of it and enforcing the law there. From Ivory, that side before Busy Corner, Calfontaine, the road there is just terrible. But when I look at it, I look at this development, which is more residential. I'm not sure if it's by the copycat of Diepsloot East, at the riverside. I think something is to be done there. If really we are to invest that side, whether it's a local investor internationally, by just not being able to access until Calfontaine Corner, to Busy Corner there, the road, with bricks everywhere on site, water all over. It can't be in townships. It can't be that when you come from Diepsloot, you start to feel life when you're in Fourways. Having said that, I hope after the meeting we will network with the key partners. We see how best do we partner with them and so forth. RD, the acting RD is my wish. I would that we wish maybe he must stop acting. Maybe they must be permanent. Why is that? We can see the work. We see the team is working with. While we are coming with plans, because this thing, then maybe in 3 months, then it's shifted, it will be a disaster for us. So we appreciate the platform. We hope with such platforms, it should be consistent. We've got quite a number. I'm concerned because I'm sitting with empty stands, which we are paying for, where we're supposed to have established already some filling station along the way of within in the precinct of Mandela Road. But there are issues there. Some are political, some maybe it's competitor issues. So when we want to knock at a door, you can't be knocking at doors for almost a year. Whether it's coming from your province, it's the national thing. We spend a lot of money there. We are running at a loss. We could have been having some BPs. We could have, while we want development here, we are happy with the Fourways Mall and the surrounding areas. It can't be them and us in Deep Sloot. We need serious development going to N14. There's a new development, Deep Sloot is there. So we need to be also be investing in these townships, not that we don't come to Fourways, but develop the area there so that we're having some, we cannot have that Denfen, Stain City, Deep Sloot issue any longer. We need to balance that. But I hope during our networking sessions we'll exchange a couple of information, couple of networks with the councillors here. So I thought that we improve. But thanks for the platform and for the invite.
Thank you. The gentleman at the back.
Greetings to everyone. Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity. My name is Mbuso Mlungwana. I'm from Ward 132. I'm here with my councillor. I'm just here at her back and I'm backing her up. So she must rest assured. But anyway, what I want to say in our ward, and I'm happy what my councillor have said, and I agree with her 100%. Midrand is developing, but however, as SMMEs, we are struggling in that Midrand. And why we are struggling, one of the things that we are having is that those big developers are just sharing among themselves. And us at the bottom, I hear the city, they were saying they are busy with updating the developers' contribution policy. Please remember that. Because I think somewhere, somehow, when they are asking for approval to develop, my advice will be, you need to have agreement between yourself. How did they make sure that they are also developing those SMMEs? Because at the end of the day, they just share among themselves and then they do as they please. And then when the councillor approach them, or we approach them as SMMEs, what we get, they say they are private. I don't know whether they are developing in a private or in your land, but they get the approval from you. Either the department is just forgetting about us, or the city is forgot about us. We don't know how they do their deals. How did they give them the approvals to develop? But again, I heard the RD was talking about the partnership that they are open to have with the business forums. And we say, we also agree, business forums, they must be partners with the stakeholders, not partners. Don't know anyway what much differ partner and a stakeholder. But I think it's the debate for another day. But we are willing, as we're saying, on our side as the SMMEs in Midrand, we're running professional business there, and we don't need chances. We need to make sure even people who are entering in this space, they are getting support so that they can grow. And then we want the business forums that are going to have all SMMEs into their heart. What we know is that the business forum is joined freely. It's a choice to join a business forum. But however, we want also to make sure that as a stakeholder, we are recognized. Because even here, I must pass the word of gratitude to my councillor. I'm here because I had him. I'm the chairperson of a sub-region in Midrand, but I didn't even get invite from the city. But at least thank you, my councillor, for extending that hand. But all what we say, we don't want talk shows. We want action now. Let's sit down. let's talk business, so that we don't want people who call names, because sometimes when we market in these developers, we get the words that no, we have been told that there are construction mafias. There's no construction mafias in Midrand, but we are looking for opportunity. And that is the reason, because they just want to close the doors and share amongst each other. And we don't blame them, because everyone is in business to maximize the profit. But these things must be done properly, and everyone, to make sure everyone is benefiting and everyone is growing. We are 30 years more in democracy now. Let's do the work and make sure that the rich sleep, the poor sleep, everyone is eating. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor?
Thank you. Mbuza and I might agree to disagree on some issues, but we both here. Good for coming and having your say, because it's important that you also have your say. That's what stakeholders are about, and engagement from the departments are about, is that they hear everybody's view. In development planning in the city of Joburg, the city has to provide an environment for future development, and that's their job, is to provide the space for future development and economic growth. And ED and the ED from development planning, I'm sure, have meetings, and they will discuss Midrand and Region A going forward. Everybody wants to work in Ward 132. They come from Diepsloot, they come from Alex, they come from Ivory Park, they come from Olivenatesbos, across the province lines, the municipality lines. All the transport taxis is at least 8 taxi associations. Rulta, all of them come to Waterfall. Edie, and I'm glad the province is here. I hope they're still here and they're listening. The taxi licenses haven't been awarded since the Mall of Africa was opened. They gave them temporary licenses. They still don't have permanent licenses. So they're crossing over each other's boundaries. And I'm petrified that we're going to have taxi wars going on the R55, Allendale, now with a new mushroom farm opening. They're crossing each other's lines. It hasn't happened yet, but it's something you need to be aware of. We need to get those licenses under control. The other thing is,
sorry, Councillor,
tourism.
With due respect, if you would allow me, can we go back to that resolution that the ED and yourselves, we will then have a meeting so that we can unpack. I can see the passion and I understand the frustration because you have a better appreciation of the issues in the ground. I mentioned earlier on that we have time constraints. There's a movie that is going to happen, so we don't want our hosts to kick us out.
I hear you.
And we also want to give other businesses an
opportunity. My last comment is tourism. Tourism ends in Sandton City. Tourism has not come to Midrand. We need that connection between Sandton and Midrand, because Midrand, everybody that comes to Midrand to live in the guest houses, hotels, wherever they are, have to get in a car or a bus and go to Sandton to go and eat and party. There's nothing in Midrand for them to do. International guests. We need to bring tourism to Midrand. We used to have a tourism department in Midrand. If you will recall, I was part of setting that up nearly 15 years ago. But we need to bring it back. That's all I have to say today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much
for your session today.
Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask ED and then RD to respond to that.
Yeah, I think, thank you. Some were almost the comments and advices in terms of how we can resolve other issues. So I think, yeah, so I do agree, I think, with the functional integration of Fourways, Diepsloot, Fourways as an anchor economic node, anchoring other areas around. And we'll look at the issue you've raised, that it looks like the traders that were here have ran to Diepsloot because a lot of them were illegal. So when you are illegal, it doesn't matter where you are. If you are illegal and you are not allowed to do trade in South Africa, you can't even do it in your backyard. So we'll check, we'll look at that in terms of our bylaw enforcement. Maybe if we can advise us in terms of what are your hotspots, those areas you've identified hotspots around Diepsloot, so we can bring our bylaw management team to come and enforce there. But the partnerships, we are open to those. I think it's something that we will do. So also Mbuzo, I think Mbuzo, as we agreed, will come to Midrand. So maybe you will help us in terms of organizing the businesses there. So we can really engage on what is available and also other opportunities that we believe business people there can take advantage of, and how we can interface on a continuous basis to co-create solutions as well. So because you are also in a better position to understand some of the things there. And yeah, so strangely, I live not far from, but I go more to Midrand than Sandton, Councillor. Maybe there's more short left that you must discover in Midrand. With Mushroom Park, yeah, I suppose your point is really quite important, because tourism experiences are developed. They don't just really happen. And the good thing is that tourism is part of our team. It's in our group. So we'll have probably when we come to Midrand for that focused discussion, we'll come with colleagues from tourism as well. So we can start looking at how do we also package tourism experiences around Midrand as well, so that people don't just sleep there. They can sleep, work, and play. Ngara, the playing part you are worried about, Councillor, but there's playing there a lot. So not enough. Yeah, so we can then work, play, and sleep there. Definitely. So thanks for that. But I think we'll take it up. I think after this meeting we'll then confirm when we can come to have that discussion with the businesses in Midrand, and then we'll take it from there. And also Diepsloot, of course, in terms of some of the concerns that you've raised. With the opening of the fixing of the road, yeah, it's amazing what that intervention has done, both in terms of the flow of traffic, but also in terms of opening what possibly can be done in terms of development. So we don't just want to see only houses being built. It must be this human settlement concept where you've got proper business areas that are set up. We support them, and so yes, schools as well, and also areas to play. As the councillor said, there must also be areas to play there, so that it becomes an attraction in terms of other tourists of note. So, but RD will assist us, I think, in the region in terms of having those scheduling those sessions, RD, with the Midrand. And we'll come with other partners, including planning, so that we can then engage and really have an activity kind of a program that where we can track some of these things, support SMMEs. There are a lot of SMMEs we are already supporting in that area, people that are producing woody peanut butter that we've assisted with market access, but we need to do more as usual, and I think we will continue to do that as well. Thanks. Ardi?
Thanks, ED. ED, I think there's something that I need to emphasize, and I think the colleagues from economic development must take it home. I'm of the view that the sessions ED should be in such a way that we are engaging with the business sector with an intent to secure an investment. Because if we don't do that, what is going to happen is that we are going to go into the various spaces, including at Midrand, talk to colleagues, but only to find that they're actually looking for opportunities from us. Whereas the intent is for us to actually find business people that they can actually invest in our various regions, bring in the monies, and then they get the opportunities. I think we're going to require a balancing act around that ED as we move on this kind of sessions. And also, I think the other part that we need to really drill into is to say, Fourways have invested that kind of money that they've put in order for them to expand. How do we then collaborate together? And it's something that for the 2 sessions that I was involved in, I'm not getting that finer detail coming out, and it's something that I want us to actually drive towards too as we move forward. My colleague from the Business Forum, I am permanent where I am. Here I'm just taking care of this region. So I think polygamy is just following me, because my great-grandfather had 6 women, so it seems I'm just inheriting the polygamy from that sense. So this region will definitely have somebody taking care of it. The issues you've mentioned, ED, I think from our end, the issues around the empty stands and the developments that they want to actually have them taking place, we'll see to it through the WHOS unit. We facilitate discussions and see to the resolution of all that particular matter. Safe to say that I am also quite aware of the stand on Busy Corner around the development that was supposed to take place around, I think they were developing the garage on that space. They intended to do that, which now the land has since been invaded. It's one of the issues that we will then pick up. The road that ED they are referring to is K111 in terms of the condition. Safe to say that we have had an engagement with province about that particular road and what is then required. Unfortunately, the discussions were not at the pace that one would actually want due to the pressures that we were also having around G20, because some of the activities or focuses we had to give it to that particular national event. But now that we are on a normal scaling mode, we should be able then to see to it that with the assistance of province, we respond. EDS, as I take my seat and colleagues, I think in the main I want us to actually just reflect on what we call perception and reality, and also the power of media. Sandton is not where it is today due to them not marketing themselves. Once I say the richest square mile in Africa, your brain tend to click. The marketing strategies around the Diamond Walk is one of the things that they have in place. So what it means is that we need to also look at Region A as to what would be the characteristics that we can utilize to actually market and elevate the status of Region A. There are people having fun in the evening at Region A, Councillor Tepe, without necessarily mentioning any names. But I think we can amplify those kind of activities. On that note, from our end, as the Region AD and colleagues, we are here. The team is also here. Where there are service delivery issues, you can engage with the team. We'll try and resolve them. But where you want to actually have an opening towards some of the key stakeholders that you may want to engage with in the city of Johannesburg, as the region, we are always available, more than willing to meet with yourselves. On that note, I must indicate that we will try by all means to assist. Some of the things may not be an overnight matters, but where there are challenges and for your businesses to grow, we'll try by all means to see to it that we bring the relevant individuals to actually come through and attend to your matter so that we can have more victories coming through. I would want to see more of the work of Baldwin growing around the developments. Councillor mentioned about the boulders. We can look at it and see if whether we can have low-cost housing taking place around that particular space. There are a few stands that are owned by province. There are some other properties that are owned by the city. Some of it not even being utilized for a good act. Those are the discussions as and when there are people wanting to come into the space, having the financial muscle so that we can bring in the SMMEs. We can engage, make the platforms available, and the city will then advise them as to what then would be the way forward. Where the development planning unit needs to come in for issues of assisting them, they will also play their part in terms of seeing to it that their business opportunities are then realized. On that note, I think I've covered the issues and I've even elaborated on some of the matters I wanted to speak to. Thank you, Amo and colleagues.
Thank you so much, ED and RD, for those responses. I just want to check if I'm not leaving anyone out. Any final takers? Are we all okay? Besides the councillor, that is. Because I know we are not going to leave here on time. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I think I was also trying to manage my time to make sure that we afford the businesses an opportunity to also speak so that we are not the only ones that are speaking to businesses. We are left with 30 minutes, so I'm going to allow the last two speakers to come forward for their final presentations. Lebo? Are you looking for the plug? Okay, sorry about that. So I'm going to call, I spoke earlier on about strategic partners that we are working with, including province as well as national. I'm going to call Mr. Donald Mabusela from the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition, who is going to share briefly on the support that is available for businesses that have invested in the city. Can we give him a round of applause as he comes to the floor?
Thank you, Program Director. Let me greet you all and say good afternoon. As introduced, my name is Donald Mabusela. Within the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition, I come from the branch that is responsible for the administration of incentives. And that's what I'll be talking about here. It's a very interesting session, meeting the business community and the leadership. Now, my contribution is that there are various initiatives that we're involved in. Now, from our side, there's financial support that we are offering. But now, I need to give an outline. I need to give an overview. Are you okay? Okay. I need to give an overview as to how do we support. What kind of support are we offering and how are we going about the business of supporting the businesses? The long and short of my presentation is that our support is mainly in the two sectors. Those that are in manufacturing. And secondly, those businesses that are in agro-processing. We do not support primary agriculture or primary production, but only those that process what has been produced from the farms to produce various kinds of products. And secondly, those that are in manufacturing, whatever kind or type of manufacturing you are involved in. And to say this, that there's an element of supporting infrastructure for those businesses, for example, that are in property development. Our support is where we partner with the local municipalities to financially contribute towards the bulk infrastructure as a way of unlocking relevant projects for the good of our country. So those are the main three areas. In terms of the support, we have about 20 kinds and types of incentive schemes through which we offer support. At this stage, it's not necessary to, how do I quickly move through? Can I do it here? Show me. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Yes, that's my name. I'm just going to give a brief overview. I'm not going to take 10 minutes. I'm going to take about 5 minutes with that overview. So the overview should assist you in your planning. And of course, it's worth mentioning that we support existing enterprises, and we also support startups in various ways. This is the leadership of our department and the various business units and enterprises that are owned by the state as part of our machinery to deliver. This is a very important slide to assist the business community to understand what kind of support and how are we offering it. And the key here is that these points should assist you to know when to approach and engage us, and in what areas we will be able to assist you. Point number 2, we say our support is offered on a cost-sharing basis, which means we don't provide 100% support. You need 100 million, we'll only provide a portion. You need 10 million, we'll only provide a portion as an incentive. Therefore, the applicant will need to raise the balance of the funding in various ways. And I've already said this, that we support new establishments and also expansions and upgrading of existing businesses. And this point that you must be in manufacturing or agro-processing, it's very much important. And then in terms of our support, mainly we assist the businesses to acquire the equipment, machinery, and the tools they need to manufacture or to perform their various activities. And the next important point is that we work on a reimbursement principle, which unfortunately might have a negative bearing on the cash flows, but unfortunately with the state resources, there are rules according to which we should support, which means once you are approved, we don't transfer funds into your account. We say you have been approved on these terms. Now, as you implement your project, you package a claim, you submit, we reimburse you until you finally completed your project. You determine when to package your claims and so on and so on. So there's no upfront payment. Now, the next slide that talks about quality of business cases. I hope you'll understand this as business people, that resources are very much limited, and not everyone who requests might be supported. Now you need to prove and indicate the state resources that are put into your business will go into good use. That's why we say, is the business economically viable? Have you secured the market for your products? And you have the technical know-how, the right team to be able to implement your project successfully, so that the money from the government, from the department, from the state that is invested in your business goes into good use. And lastly, because I said there are different schemes that we are administering, before you put in a request, you need to understand the specific rules in terms of that particular scheme. Now, this is another important slide that gives an idea as to what kind of incentive programs do we have. And I'm going to quickly explain that the first one, we say the innovation cluster. That's where we're encouraging South Africans to innovate, come up with better products, improve processes, adopt new technologies, and so on and so on. Through these two schemes, we make financial contribution. That's a way of encouraging South Africans to innovate. And the second cluster, it's those people that have got ideas to manufacture, to produce products. So we are encouraging South Africans to manufacture, not to continuously go on importing. And then we make funding available so that people can set up their manufacturing processes, facilities. So through these schemes, we assist you to acquire a piece of not necessarily land, but to buy a factory or to lease a factory. And through these different schemes, we assist you to buy the required machinery, tools, and equipment that you need to do your manufacturing. As I indicated, we do not assist much with working capital, but it's more about a capital investment. And then, now, how do you know which scheme will be for your needs? Together with my team, we engage potential clients and explain these schemes to them and assist them to apply. But now, when we listen at your story, we're able to guide you and say, your project will qualify under the Black Industrialist Scheme, or you're going to qualify under Manufacturing Support Program. Now, for the sake of this presentation, which I know will be shared with everyone, we've put a slide to just give an outline as to, for example, what is the Black Industrialist Scheme all about, and the total amount available to support per project. For example, we're saying 50 million rand. That's a 30% up to 50% of the required investment. Now, when you go to that table and there's a specific incentive program that you are interested in, now you'll go to a particular slide such as this one, just to have an idea as to what is this all about. Because of time constraints, I'm not going to be providing all the details. But this light should guide you to know that, oh, you are in manufacturing. These are the schemes that support those enterprises that are in manufacturing. Or if you see an opportunity to move into the manufacturing space, these are the kind of programs. Now, the next category is those that are in the services space. For example, the Global Business Services Incentive, for example, is the call centers. But now we're saying for you to get support from us to set up a call center or any service project, first and foremost, you must have a contract with a global player. You get an international contract to service here in South Africa, and therefore we assist you in setting up such kind of facilities. And also the film makers, the film producers, were saying, let's produce our films here in South Africa. So the funding is available to encourage people to produce those films. And then once you have a film, you can go and sell it to various broadcasters. And of course, part of job creation, when you produce a film, there are different service providers that you'll be making use of, and therefore employment opportunities will be created. And the next last and now, it's once you have produced your juice, once you have manufactured your ever product, whether it's clothes or whatever, car components, we are encouraging you as a South African to export your products. Don't only sell to the South Africans, but we're saying sell your products on the continent, sell your products to overseas buyers and anyone out there. Through these incentive schemes, we make it possible for you financially to travel wherever you want to travel, because we partly pay your travel-related costs, your accommodation-related costs, and so on, so that you can visit potential buyers anywhere on the globe to go and introduce your products. If you want to attend an exhibition in New York, wherever. So most South Africans have been all over the globe through this kind of support, trying to go in there to look for opportunities to sell their products. And the last cluster, that's where we say, in partnership with the city, local municipalities, let's create the infrastructure that the business community needs. With regards to the critical infrastructure, that's when I said now you want to build a shopping center or shopping mall. The responsibility of the cities to assist with the bulk services, and in partnership with the city, we provide a little bit of funding so that we can reduce the debt burden that the business it's supposed to be carrying, as to improve the sustainability. And also the issue of special economic zones and industrial parks. So in brief, these are the schemes that we have. These are the different ways we're trying to financially assist the business community. And at the end here, it's my contact number and my email address. But please, when you want to engage with me, don't call. Just send me a text, and then we'll arrange and have a discussion, because I spend a lot of time talking to or engaging with various stakeholders. I don't take most of the calls, so that you are not angry with me. But let's have engagement. So in brief, that's how we contribute to ensuring the success of business initiatives in South Africa. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mabusela, for that very detailed presentation. I hope the councillor was taking note of the support available so that when we have that engagement, we can then explore. Without any waste of time, I will then call the next speaker from our Department of Group Finance, Mr. Puluso Muhau, to come and share the opportunities that are available for those that seek debt relief. Can we welcome him as he comes forward?
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is, hey, afternoon, Manyera Folly there. Me and him, we always, oh, hey. All right. My name is Puluso Mohau, once again. Apologies, I've been sent by my senior manager, whom couldn't make it due to other commitments. His name is Uzano Mbingeleli. But in short, I'm just here to present the debt relief program that is available to the communities, large businesses, small businesses, and so forth. So I'll just be brief. I'll just jump to, I don't know what you want to hear exactly, but I'll just jump to the purpose of the program. So the purpose of the program is just to support over-indebted customers, enhance our revenue collection, our financial sustainability, ensure that the relief is based on accurate data, promote responsible service uses in our communities, encourage discipline as well as accountability, as well as protect our vulnerable residents. So now in terms of our qualifying criteria, we have just different categories in terms of our qualification. So we have our pensioners and our ESP beneficiaries. We have our residential customers, our large businesses, our small businesses, our faith-based businesses, that is in short the churches, our NPOs, the old age homes, orphanages, and body corporates as well. So in terms of our relief structures, of course, then we have the terms and conditions, unfortunately. And then also we have in the categories, we have then also the different benefits, because a small business cannot qualify the same amounts as the big businesses. I'll just jump to the conditions. So the property value has to be 2.5 million for our residential customers. So unfortunately, when you open the windows, you have to ensure that there's fresh air as well. So there will be exclusions. So when you have qualified previously within the program, then unfortunately you will not be qualified in this instance. Yeah, so unfortunately you will not be accounted for. And also our staff accounts, meaning our colleagues within the city of Johannesburg, unfortunately you do not qualify. I'm so sorry. And also our sorry. Also our vacant land, just in case you have a vacant land somewhere. I know that I've heard a couple of businesses that were presented here. So unfortunately you do not qualify also. The repayment terms, when we offer you our AOD structure, they go from 12 to 24 months, 36 as well as 12 months. So I'm just going to go to, and I think this is I'll just be jumping back and forth the required documentation, and then I'll just go back maybe just to go in a bit of small detail because of the businesses. So what we need is a certified copy of your ID document, proof of income, certified banking statements. I know that the banks usually come with their own certification, the stamp, so that will be fine. 3 years recently audited statements on our businesses. 6 months of the bank statements. We also need that. The CIPC registration document, that is also needed. The certified business owner's ID copy will also be needed. So now I know that sometimes you come on behalf of a company or on behalf of I know I heard Baldwin was being mentioned here. So I know that those fall under are businesses, but they sometimes send their people to come. So you'll need a proxy letter for that instance. And then the application form, I actually just bought one application just to show everyone here. Yeah, so and then you fill in the application form. You just ensure that everything is signed, and then you submit it. Now, in terms of where can it be gotten, the application form, it can be obtained on our city's website, our regional emails. I know on each region we have a regional email from region E all up until from region A, up until the last region. So we do also hand them out, as also in our customer service centers. There's always copies that we have made to the community, to the businesses at large, so you can obtain the copy there. Now, it's always a moment of confusion to the community to say, now how long will this last, what should I get, what should I do, and so forth and so forth. So I just want to bring to everyone's attention that the program is open for the entire year. I know that it has started, for instance, on the first week of November, so it will run up until the 31st of October 2026. So there's no pressure. We have more than enough time to sort out your services, because if your meter has problems, or you breached the meter, you know, those illegal connections, your meter is not working properly, so this is the time whereby you can get assistance, because if and only those are not sorted out, then you will not qualify. Okay, now the verification, the application should be signed, the documentation should be in place. A property ownership, will verify that with the deeds office as well as our valuations, so best believe. Now the financial assessment will be conducted, just to ensure that indeed you do need the relief, right? Thank you. Site inspections, just to ensure that indeed the property does exist, the meter does exist, and certainly you do need the services. You will be monitored. You will be monitored for compliance purposes. Now, this is very much tricky, because if and only you default, you pay this month, pay next month, third month you default, or you're paying late, unfortunately that debt will be reinstated and the contract will be cancelled, unfortunately. Just to put that in the clear. I don't know if I'm missing anything. Okay, so this is just the engagements that we have, but the most important slide that I just want to focus on is actually this one. I think, looking at my audience, this is the most slide that I'll be focusing on the benefit terms as well as the relief type, right? The pensioners, they qualify up to 100%, and the repayment terms is up to 36 months where applicable. Residential customers, on all income levels, you do qualify for 50%. Thereby, the remaining 50% will be repayable via an AOD, of which can sit any date between 12 to 24 months. Large businesses, you do qualify for 50% right off. The remaining balance will then have to be settled within 60 days. Small businesses, now hence I mentioned these can be anything from the churches to our old age homes to our non-profit organizations or orphanages, as well as our body corporates. They do qualify for 50% of debt that is older than 36 months. Please note that of debt that is older than 36 months. Right now, the remaining portion will be payable via an AOD between 6 to 12 months, or you have an option of settling it in full. I don't know if I'm missing anything or there's probing questions. Otherwise, okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much to our presenter for that very informative presentation. Unfortunately, due to time constraints, we will not take any questions, but I believe the colleagues from the DTIC and yourself will be available for further engagements outside. I did mention that we have a bit of a time constraints on our end, but ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our program for today. I just want to quickly summarize our next steps as well as way forward. I will just go straight to the point to say that after this session, we are going to share all the presentation so that you can read the information. I know it might have been a bit of an information overload, so that leisurely you can peruse the information that was shared today. We are going to convene a multi-stakeholder task team that will, as I mentioned earlier on, that our interventions are regional based, that will look at this region specifically. And I think it also adds to the comment by the RD to say we need to conceptualize how are we going to go about the next steps, including the sourcing of investments. And then the outcomes of this engagement reinforces that Joburg's progress depends on sustained, honest, and solution-driven collaboration. There was a comment earlier on that we don't want a talk shop, and that's not what we are doing. So as part of our interventions, we are going to make sure that we also conduct site visits to individuals so that we can appreciate the individual pain points that businesses are working together. And with that said, I think it's very important to emphasize the point of collaboration. Together we can achieve so much more. And with that said, before I call our councillor to do the vote of thanks, I just want to appreciate our sponsor or our partner for today. We are in this beautiful facility, although it was tempting us to get popcorn and a drink so that we can watch a movie, but I just want to appreciate Fourways Mall. I think this is also another demonstration that together we can do so much more. They offered this beautiful venue as well as the refreshments that we received for today because they understand the importance of working together with the city to create that enabling environment for businesses to thrive. I'm just going to ask that we give them a round of applause for assisting us for today. I am going to call our councillor, Councillor David Foley, who is going to give us a round of, who's going to give us a vote of thanks. Can we just appreciate our councillor as he comes?
Thank you very much. Right, a few notes from my side. All protocols observed. This session was for all wards in Region A, so thank you to all the councillors that are here. Yes, it was short notice, and I think the weather played a part as well. Sessions during the week are always difficult for business leaders, I think, to attend, but thank you to everyone that is here today. Much appreciated. Many thanks to the RD, Mr. Taba, and the ED, Mr. Marsha, from the City of Joburg, the GGDA, and the Productivity SA representatives. I really enjoy the presentations, and we feel we are moving forward. We are working. I'm very familiar with the Kaizen process. With 40 years in IT management and executive positions in the corporate world, I can say the process works well, and I have seen some excellent results. The FID is part of my DNA, and I work hard with the team daily to ensure the success of the area. I was one of the founders as the councillor, and by bringing everyone together, a new dream was realized. Many thanks to Mike Pinar for his perseverance in this. For the 3,200 and odd trees that were planted 2 weeks ago, a special thanks must go out to Dr. Joseph Endo, the regional manager for City Parks, in Region A. It was his initiative to grow the tree canopy, who we all supported. So very, very much thanks to that. There's no reason there's no Midrand Improvement District. And I will start with that soon, as 50% of my ward is in Midrand, actually, as part of Ward 94. I will start working with the various stakeholders to achieve this and use the FID blueprint as opposed to reinventing the wheel. As an urgent requirement in the area is a formalized taxi hub, with hawkers being supported in a clean and safe environment, which can become a tourist attraction in the future. I will be chatting to the ED, including the transport departments, to make it a reality. Fourways is the new Sandton, but the infrastructure must support the growth. The ED expressed some frustration based on the traffic congestion earlier. We need to be 5 years ahead as opposed to be 10 years behind. Planning is critical to any success. South Africa is the best country in the world with the best people. Let's move forward together and improve people's lives through economic development and job creation. Once again, thank you to everyone for their attendance today. Thank you to the Fourways Mall. I know the lady did say that, but in particular Varushka for arranging and hosting us today. Much appreciated. Thank you for coming to Ward 94, the ward that works for the community, ratepayers and businesses. Have a wonderful weekend and travel safely.
Thank you.